Hey everyone, how's it going? My name's Muko and welcome back to my channel where we talk about tech, career, and life. I know it doesn't really look it though, but we're baking today because this is an edition of Muko's Corner where I talk about software engineering career advice basically. And today's topic is about how to decide when to leave your software engineering job. I myself have left 4 jobs in total in the last 6 years, and each one of them I've kind of gained some more insight and wisdom into how to go about doing it. And so I wanted to share that with you, so share my personal experiences and talk about what I think about when I'm thinking about leaving a job. All right, so let's get started. We are making shoe cream puffs today. I literally haven't made this since I was in high school, so this could actually end very terribly. But I'm using someone else's recipe, so I'll link it down in the description box down below. So I guess let's get started. And we're off to the races, everybody. So yeah, let's dive into the topic. So how do you know it's time to leave your job, basically? And to answer that, I kind of wanted to bring up the whole thing about a value exchange. So basically, are you getting what you put into your job out of your job? It's a really fine balance to achieve because the answer is literally different for everyone in every job. And so in order to answer that, you have to first figure out, what do you want from a job? I literally haven't used this kondo gas range thing, whatever you call it in English, for anything other than onabe, hot pot. So it's kind of interesting to actually be using it for cooking, to be honest with you. So we'll see how it goes. So first you have to figure out, what do you want from your job? And I'm gonna give you some examples because I think it's helpful to know what you could get out of a job. And this is based on what I like getting out of a job, what I've heard other people like getting it out of a job, and it'll kind of bring some tangibility into this whole thing, you know. While we're on the topic of leaving jobs, a big part about leaving a job and finding a new one is building your skill set, which is why I wanted to say thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Skillshare. Skillshare is a platform that offers thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people, with classes in everything from Python to illustration to architecture to brand work. Skillshare classes include a combination of video lessons and a class project, and they're made to fit your schedule and skill level. Members get unlimited access to thousands of classes, and most are under 60 minutes. If you've decided to leave your job, you know that what's next is interviewing at other companies. And so there's actually a really great course on Skillshare called Master the Coding Interview, Algorithms and Data Structures to help you brush up on your interviewing skills. It's actually a really thorough class. It goes through things like your resume, LinkedIn profile, portfolio, and then it'll kind of give you a refresher on fundamental computer science concepts and all of the algorithms and data structures that typically show up in a software engineering interview. It's a really popular course, and Skillshare has a ton of classes like this on their platform. So only the first 1,000 people to click the link in the description box down below will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium. Make sure to check that out, and thank you again to Skillshare for sponsoring. Now let's get back to the video. So one big thing is compensation. Are you getting paid for the work that you put in? And you know, everybody uses that money in different ways. Some people need to support a family or loved ones. Other people want to buy property and increase their wealth and retire by 45. Other people want to use it just to get by, whatever that might be for you, basically. The next one that a lot of people talk about is opportunities to grow and learn new skill sets. So whether that means a new skill set and a new technology or just new communication skills, or some people like it because they want to learn and become a manager or rise up the ranks. Then stir in 1 cup flour using a wooden spoon. Okay, I don't have a wooden spoon, so guess what I'm gonna use? I'm gonna use a freaking rice paddle, okay? You know, the rice paddle worked very well. Uncle Roger would be very pleased. I'm actually not much of a baker. Most of my knowledge really is just from watching lots of British Bake Off. All right, other things you can get from a job. Networking opportunities. So ability to connect with people that you want to because you admire them, or because they're going to level up your career even more, or because you just like connecting with people. Some people also want flexibility from their jobs, so that could be hours, that could be location. Other people also look for benefits, so things like healthcare, stocks, anything that's not exactly monetary that comes with the compensation package. Another one that I really look for in a job is fulfillment in your work. I mean, some people are okay with not that, but I feel like it's a lot of time to spend on something, so I'd rather have it bring me inherent joy and fulfillment than not. So another one could be a harmonious like work environment or culture, because maybe you want to work for somewhere that you really align with its mission, or that you really enjoy working with other people, whatever that might mean to you. So yeah, those are all examples of what you could get from a job. And that's important because you need to figure that out before you can understand, am I getting like a fair value exchange between me and my job? Like, is the work that you do for a company and for an app and the code that you write, like, are you getting those other things back as a result? So basically then you gotta ask yourself, after you evaluate what you want from your job and what it means to you, like all of this also changes over time. What I want from a job now is different from what I wanted from a job 2 years ago even. But yeah, ask yourself, are you getting all of this from your current job? Like, what are you putting in as a result? And it's a balance. This is really kind of more of an art than a science, because calibrating fair is like kind of a tough thing to do. So it's important to stay attuned to this and figure out what fair means to you. And that allows you to kind of see the whole equation as a result. So yeah, first I do that evaluation. Am I getting out what I put into my job? And sometimes the immediate answer is like, no way. Like, you're not getting anything out of it. But I think another important part of all this, which I've realized over my career, is maybe you're not getting the right balance. Maybe it's not fair right now, but will it be in the future? Figure out if maybe you're gonna get this in the future, because short-sightedness can bite you, especially in today's economy. And also, it's not about just like hopping from job to job. Like, it's about learning what you can from a job, seeing what you can get out of it, and then once you feel like you've got everything you can get out of it, then you graduate, I think, to the next job. You know, like in Terrace House, where like everybody graduates out. I kind of think about it like that. It's like you quit a job, but also you graduate from it. 仕事を卒業するって感じ? Is this the most Asian shoe pastry you've ever seen, or what? Did you know that when you're making mashed potatoes, instead of using a masher, it's actually really efficient to use a rice paddle? This is something I realized in college. Like, rice paddle can do so many things. It's important to have one and very handy. So yeah, maybe you're gonna get some of these things later down the road after you put in more of an initial investment to your work, or maybe there's opportunities that are gonna open up in the future because of some reorg that's coming, because of some manager that's coming, because, I don't know, maybe you're just gonna feel like you're more used to the job and it's not as scary and daunting anymore, and you feel like you can stick it out for a little longer. Because probably most of my jobs, like the first month, I'm like, I hate this job. I can't do anything. I want to quit. I'm so bad at it. I don't deserve it. And so I always need to ride out that wave. Probably like a good 3 to 6 month wave for me to get to a point where I'm like, oh, okay, like now I can see what I'm getting out of the job. So be patient. And maybe it's not obvious to you like when those opportunities are gonna come for you to actually get what you want out of your job. And that's honestly a conversation you can have with your manager. Because then your manager can kind of keep a lookout, because they likely know more of how the company works and what opportunities might come your way. And they can assign projects and things to you and have you work with certain people to kind of broaden your horizons and open your perspectives. I always try to explore as many options as possible before I really even allow myself to make a decision. And just like the scientific method of just being like, I'll try this thing because I was presented with this opportunity, and then I expect to get these results from it. And then you do it, and then you see if the results are accurate, is one way to kind of like project your future opportunities, as well as what your future at the company and job might look like. And then sometimes I do these projections, and then as I do more and more of these, I kind of get a sense of like, okay, this is a general area in which I'm headed. And then it's just still not very exciting to me. This is actually kind of what happened at Netflix, to be honest. I was there for like a solid year and a couple of months, and I definitely tried my best to give it the opportunity to be open-minded to what I could learn. But I think towards the end of that year, I started seeing like, okay, if I stay at this job, here are kind of the things that I could see playing out here, the different journeys that I could take. And I was still just like, I don't really care to do that, honestly. Like, I could have become this like all-knowing, super badass like iOS engineer who knows the ins and outs of the Netflix app and really well connected to other Netflix engineers and managers. And to some people that's great. Like, I think that's an honestly very good, honest piece of work that is really exciting to some folks. But at the time, I was really interested in content creation. I was like, what is it like to be your own boss? What is it like to build your own business and connect with the people that I've always wanted to connect with, including you? So yeah, that's kind of a big reason why I was like, you know, I could stick it out for longer, but I just don't see myself really being excited by these prospects. My arm's tired. Ta-da! It's not very much. I'm actually only just making half. We're doing good. So now you get that there's like this value exchange between you and your job. And maybe you've identified what you want from your job. And then you thought about, okay, am I getting this from my job right now? Will I get this from my job? And really the next thing to do, I think, is to talk to your manager. And obviously you don't want to tell your manager like, yo, I'm thinking of leaving my job, do something, because that doesn't really put them in a good spot because they are responsible for you and your employment. So an alternative way to telling them that you're not getting what you want out of your job is to kind of tell them, hey, this is something that I'm looking for in my role here, and I just don't really quite feel like I'm getting it. Like, what can we do, or what can I do in order to work on that? And yeah, it's an uncomfortable conversation, especially if it's something around compensation, which is a lot harder because your pay is not just determined by your manager, it's determined by the budget and your financial planning and kind of all of that stuff. Yo, if this works, I will be so dang happy. Not just because it worked, but because I'll be rewarded with shoe cream. What are these called? Cream puffs. Americans call them cream puffs. Japanese call them shoe creams. Ta-da! Look at my shoe, it looks pretty good, huh? Anyway, yeah, talk to your manager. I think it's the most effective thing, and it's also the most courteous thing to have them be a part of the conversation to give you what you need from a job. I mean, they're also going to be the people who are going to evaluate whether the company and the team is getting what it needs from you as well. But having them be a part of the conversation and make sure that they are doing whatever they can to help you grow, that's kind of like the core part of a manager's job, I think. Although there's a twist. There's actually a saying about how people leave managers, not companies. Because maybe you want to talk to your manager, or you've been talking to your manager about getting what you need, and given that they're the people who are most responsible for you, who can most help you out, if they're not doing that for you, that's really hard. It makes it like 1,000 times harder. Like, you could rely on other people to get what you need. Maybe it's another manager on the same team, or mentors, for instance, or maybe you're really close to another manager or director or something, or maybe even peers. But ultimately, software engineers' employment and experience, I think, is really heavily affected by managers. Luckily for me, I've been so blessed and so fortunate to have incredible managers at every company. So I've never left a company because of a manager, but there are tons of people who I know who work at Silicon Valley companies, startups and stuff, who leave because their manager isn't very good. For those of you who bake, you know how some people are like, you should whip your cream until you get stiff peaks. I think you should whip cream until it kind of resembles like a puffer fish mating ritual, like the little sand things that they make. And when you can start seeing that on the outside, I feel like that's when it's done. Anyway, that's kind of how I think about how you know it's time to leave your job, how to navigate that whole like, oh, maybe I should quit my job kind of feeling. I'm sure there's other ways to navigate this too. So again, share with me your experiences and what you think about when you're about to leave a job in the comments down below. The shoe creams are not done, but I am done with the topic. So if you'd like to see the rest of them being made and the final state, then keep on watching. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching the video. I wanted to make a video on this topic for a while because a lot of people have been requesting it, and it's something that I think is on everybody's mind at some point in their career. So I hope it helps you, and if it did, consider subscribing. I have other episodes of Muko's Corner where I talk about software engineering career tips and tricks in the playlist down below, and I hope you check them out. I hope all of you are doing well wherever you are, even though the world is kind of crazy right now. Hope you have a great day wherever you are, and take care, everybody. Bye. Done. It looks pretty dang good. Dude, that's really good. I made that, yo. I got a lot out of it. Cause you know, the work, you put in, what you get out of it. Alright, see you in the next video, fam. Bye.